Hello everyone and welcome to our 30-minute webinar named Dynamic Project Management and Team Engagement for Successful Project Delivery. I'm Delphine Cabral and I will be your moderator today. I'm very pleased to introduce our two speakers today. Maud Bossard, who is Team Leader Consultant and PMP Certified. Hello Maud.
Hello everyone, thanks for joining today.
And Margot Marot, who is Consultant in Project Management. Hello Margot.
Hello everyone, nice to be with you today.
During this webinar, you can ask any question you will have. To do that, it's easy. Please use the question box, which is located on the right side of your screen. And we will answer to all your questions at the end of the webinar. Let now Margot start the webinar. Margot, it's your turn.
Yes, thank you, Delphine, for this introduction. So I can now diving into the presentation of today, which is about collaborative spirits and dynamic project management. So when you start a collaborative project, the first question that probably arises in your mind, in the question you see on the screen, is how to get the full commitment of my team to start the project. So we will answer this question today through two main parts. So the first one will be about the creation of collaborative spirit among your partners. And the second one will be more about having a successful dynamic project management. So as you probably seen in the webinar invitation, so today it will be an interactive session. So we kindly ask you to take your smartphone with you and to already connect you on the following link that you see on the screen, which is paulev.com/maudebossard809. So this way you will be able to see the question and to answer to the questions. So just to help you, here you see a screenshot of what you should now see on your smartphone. So to have an access to the question, just please either enter your name, first name, and click on continue, or just skip if you want that your answer are anonymous. So we'll let you maybe a few seconds to connect yourself before to officially start the presentation. So no worries, we put the link on the question side later on if you are not already connected. Okay, so we can start with the first part of this webinar, which is called How to Instill and Maintain a Collaborative Spirit Among Your Partners. So I'd like to start first with a quote from Henry Ford that, for me, fits perfectly the purpose of the webinar today. Indeed, the most important step to succeed in your project is to be able to work together on the project. And you will see in the next slide some tips to do that. So it's time for our first question. So I put again the link to connect yourself on the session. So we would like today to have your opinion first on how can you instill and maintain collaborative spirit within your project. So you should now see the question on your smartphone. So we, of course, let you a few seconds to answer. So it's a cloud. So please try to answer by single words. And the more the word is quoted, the biggest the font is.
Okay, the first answers are coming. Thank you.
Yeah, communication, of course, is key to install team spirit. Yeah, communication is bigger and bigger, yes. Also icebreaker, yes. You will see in the next slide that icebreaker plays a key role also.
Events, to organize some events, indeed.
Yeah, enthusiasm, yeah.
That's the main driver in your project team, and yeah, this is very important.
Okay, we can see also informal discussion. Okay, it's also part of our presentation today, so that's good. Happiness, yes, of course. Empathy.
Wow.
Well, okay, a lot of answers. Okay, so I think we can just close this question. So as you can see on the screen, the big word is communication. And yes, of course, communication is key. So thank you very much for your answer. Very interesting to have your feedback on this. So now let's start talking about team spirit. So before to tell you why is it very important, maybe first we could define what is team spirit. So team spirit could be defined as a genuine consideration for others. It is the action to sacrifice your personal interest of glory for the well-being of all, for the well-being of your partners. And it's the responsibility of the leader. The leader should be able to get everybody in a group and not simply willing to put we instead of me. And that being said, now we can try to answer the question why team spirit is so important. In a general manner, we can say that the team spirit helps improve the chemistry of a group and thus increase the probability of success of your project. Team spirit makes the partners want the project to succeed, and then as a direct consequence, you will get better output and better results, and you will see that the decision-making process will be even easier. And so be sure that the team morale will be then at 100% boosted. That is why team spirit is so important. So we saw why team spirit is important, but now how can you effectively build it? So as a coordinator of a project manager or project manager officer, you should know that at the first place, the partners are working with you and not for you. And that makes big difference, and it's important to remind this. And also, of course, you must give to them to receive from them, basically. You should also set all the rules of the game to be sure that the partners will communicate with each other in a good and very efficient way. And for us, if you should just keep one quotation in your mind, it would be one for all and all for one. And if we continue a bit on the PMO attitude to enhance the project dynamism and the team spirit, in the first place, the PMO should be really approachable, meaning that the people know that they can come and talk with you about everything without feeling any fear or feeling judged. You should also be a very good communicator, meaning spread out the right message at the right moment in the right manner. The first thing is obviously to chair all the meetings within the project and to listen very actively all your partners and give them priorities. And for instance, if you disagree or if you're not really satisfied with the work of someone, just try to find a dedicated moment to discuss privately. But on the contrary, do not hesitate to praise publicly. This will enhance commitment of your partners. So in other words, as a leader, you should be able to unite and inspire your partners. Okay, so today to illustrate what I've just said, I would like to use the kickoff meeting as use case. As you probably know, the kickoff meeting is really the starting point of your project. And it's the first time that maybe you see all the partners. That's why it's so important to start from the beginning to install this team spirit, and the kickoff meeting is a very good way. So here you have some means to install the team spirit during this very important moment. The two first one, you can do them at the very beginning of the meeting before to start diving into all the presentation. So the icebreakers, which allow to install a very good atmosphere and get all the partners comfortable. Then you have the classical but very, very efficient roundtable, which will make the people know each other before you start the meeting. And the last one, so the team building activities and the breaks. So you can do those activities during the meeting or at the end of the day. The team building activities is really a key moment because it will create a real relationship between the partners in a different way and in a funny way if possible. And then you have the breaks, meaning here the coffee breaks that allow the people having informal discussion. And you will see later on that the coffee break have a real power. So here are some key elements for you when you want to organize some icebreakers or team building activities during your meeting. So the first thing is maybe obvious, but really important. It's to appoint a very dynamic animator, someone that is not afraid, to being under the spotlight for a moment. Then you should try to make it short, let's say 30 minutes, make it fun also, so make the people smiling and laugh. It's the best reward you can have. and also make it simple. No need for very complicated activities. And to provoke the full engagement and to have maximum participation of your partners, you can use, of course, some digital tools like we do today with Poll Everywhere, but there is also Kahoot, which is very nice because you can organize some contests. And of course, the animation you will choose will depend on different factors. The number of participants, so you won't do the same thing if you are 10 or 40 people. The meeting environment also could be good to make outdoor activities and at least outside the meeting room. And also it will depend on the time you have for the session. Here you have an example of a team building activity that we did with Maud some months ago at a kickoff meeting. So maybe you will recognize this on the photo. So this activity was indeed very fun, very nice and useful also. It's called Who Are My Work Package Partners? So here, you know, the animator just asked the VP members to come in the middle of the room, so work package per work package, and we put one band strip for each work package. So for instance, the VP1 it's yellow, VP2 it's brown, whatever, and you can put the strip whatever you want on your body. And as you can see on the picture, we are all smiling, and it was very good. And the last mean but not the least, here the breaks, the coffee breaks. So you shouldn't underestimate the power of the coffee breaks. MIT researchers found that the conversation outside the formal meetings are the most important factor that contributes to the team's success. The research showed that the energy and the engagement of these informal interactions accounts for 1/3 of the differences in productivity between the group tested. So be sure to allocate enough time for the coffee breaks during your meetings. It's really, really important. Well, I hope you are now convinced that collaborative spirit is really essential when you want to have a successful project, but of course is not sufficient. You should also consider having a dynamic project management. And this will be explained by Maud in the coming slides.
Okay, thank you, Margot, for this introduction. So indeed, I will focus on the dynamic project management as a second key element for us for successful project delivery. But let's start to try to define maybe a bit what we mean and what we think of when you said dynamic project management. So according to some articles, it's been described as a fluid, supportive and responsive way of managing the project that works with the needs of the team rather than against them. So the philosophy behind that is that actually projects are living and evolving, and your project team therefore needs a way of planning or scheduling the project according to the real world. So like Margot did in her part, I'd like to start this part with again a question. So you can take your smartphones again, and I wanted to ask you, what is for you actually dynamic project management? I'll of course present and explain that afterwards, but so the principle is the same. It's a cloud word answer. So if you can answer with using single words only, it helps showing the results. So we'll leave you a few seconds. The first answers are coming up.
Yeah, follow-up, of course.
Agility, indeed, versus the classic management. So we'll talk about that.
Yeah, responsiveness. Yeah, it's part of the, let's say, internal communication between the partners. Yes, it's also really important.
Meetings, adaptation, yes.
Exchanges, yes. Decision, yeah. Decision. You must take decision to lead the group to success. Yes, of course.
Okay, but again, on the opposite of the previous question, there is no word standing out from. No. So it's a mix of different things indeed. What do we have here?
Adaptation.
Follow up. Yes. Okay. Cool. Thank you for your answers. There's more coming. Excellent.
Availability, yes.
Adaptation, excellent. Okay, so thank you all for your answers, and I'll try to give you some more input about these aspects. So what are the benefits of dynamic project management? So when you think about collaboration, you should remember that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. It's a very famous quotation, but that is always true. if you have assembled a strong team, the collaboration between the different members will, of course, first increase your productivity. And that's the main and the first obvious benefits of such dynamic management. Another benefit would be the better problem solving. Indeed, if you give more autonomy to the members of your project, they will work together to solve the problems, and this will also provide them some reward and loyalty between them. Another benefit of dynamic project management is that you would boost your internal communication. Indeed, it sounds obvious, but collaboration facilitates the communication within your team. So what are the key stakes of dynamic project management? The first thing I would say is the real-time schedule. So the schedule at the beginning is usually predictive, since it's based on estimation. But the idea behind dynamic project management is that you are able to update it almost in real time, and as soon as there is a change that arrives in your project lifetime. Early risk identification, that's through the schedule that you make. That allows the team to identify the risk in an early way and also to be proactive in how to answer them. The clear priorities, the priorities are also built into your schedule, but it also reassures the team members that they are working on what is the most important task at the moment. And the transparency, the team can collaborate through a collaborative platform, and I'll talk about that later on, and they can access as much as information as they need related to the project. So we looked through the benefits and the stakes of collaborative work, but how and when should you implement it? So to the question of when, I think it's quite easy. Basically, you've got to do it all along your project, but how you will implement it depends on the timing and the situation of your project. So for example, during some meetings, physical meetings, you can organize some workshops that I call plenary sessions that you can work on a specific topic with all your project members. You can also organize some parallel sessions. So these are really good if you want to follow the progress or assess the progress of the work done in a one web package, for example. These are for more technical discussions, I would say. You also have the collaborative platforms, and these are really great tools to enhance the dynamisms of your team and collaborate in a secured way. And finally, you have the traditional tools, which are very good to update on project progress, such as a conference call or just an internal newsletter. So I will not focus the discussion of today on these tools because I'm sure you're all quite familiar with them, but that does not mean they're not effective if you are using them wisely. Okay, so let's briefly focus on the workshops and the parallel sessions and how to organize them and on which topic. As a use case here, I'd like to use the General Assembly meetings that you have during your project. These are, again, also a very important moment because it's the time for you to share the results among the partners of your project. And you can exchange about the technical challenges you're facing or you have faced. You can also, it's also the moment to take some decisions all together according to the achievement of your project milestones or not. So what are the key elements to perform workshops and parallel sessions, and how should you organize them? Like any other activity, and that sounds obvious, but you need to prepare it before the physical meeting. The better you prepare it, and the better the results of the outcomes of these workshops will be useful for your project. You can use different tools to prepare these workshops before the meeting, such as Brainstorm and Google Forms. So I don't know if you're familiar with them, but Brainstorm is an online interactive tool to brainstorm on a topic with your team. And you can start to identify some solutions. And you can use the conclusion of this brainstorming online session to be the starting point of your workshop with your partners. The idea is a bit the same with the Google form, but in that case, you just send a questionnaire to your participants, and you can use their answer to feed the content of your workshop or your parallel session during the meeting. So when in physical meeting, when you are actually doing the workshop or the parallel session, it's very important, that you set the scene, that everyone is on the same page. Make sure that your expectations are clear, whether you expect a final decision at the end of the workshop or just a debate, or make sure your expectations clear. Define the goal of the workshop and the rules of the game. If necessary, you should provide your partners with a framework or tools and templates that they need. They can an Excel file to be completed, some piece of paper to write on, anything. Get some help as well. Do appoint a key role. Use a moderator to ease the discussion within the group, a timekeeper, and a person in charge of the wrap-up, conclusion, and decision plan. And after this meeting, well, it's important that you share the minutes and the decisions, the list of the decisions that were made during the session to all your participants and all your members. So what can you talk about? Well, in workshops, what I call workshops, and like I said, it's more during the plenary sessions, it's quite interesting usually to talk about, to define or to update your communication and dissemination plan of your project. You can also work on the data management plan. This is a very important topic in Horizon 2020 projects now, where you have to define an internal procedures to make your research data what they call fair. Parallel sessions, I would say, are more dedicated to technical discussions to assess the progress of your work within the work package, and they are usually mostly problem solving orientated. Okay, let's talk about the collaborative platforms that that you can use to increase the dynamic. You can give some dynamic in your project management with those. So why using them? Basically, the first thing is that you can collaborate in a secured way. It's easier for you to anticipate the project next steps. You can accelerate the decision-making process with your team and your members, and it helps to enhance the dynamism. But to work and to be efficient, a collaborative platform should be set from the beginning of the project. It should be used by all the project partners, and it should be up to date with the relevant content for the project, the official documents, the contractual documents, the minute of the meetings, sorry, the technical reports, the financial reports, and so on. If this platform also offers a live chat to exchange some news within the members, it also helps for your dynamic. So here are a few examples. So there is the Ayming Sphere platform, which is implemented and hosted by Ayming. But you have also other tools such as Teams from Microsoft Office or Trello from Atlassian. Okay, so I hope I convinced you about the role that dynamic project management can have on successful project delivery. And I will leave it to Margot to conclude on our webinar today.
Yes, thank you, Maud. So as a brief summary today, we can say that, yes, there is two main components that make your project a very success. The first one is the collaborative spirit among your partners that need to be created since the very beginning of the project. And then you need to keep the flame alive all along the project lifetime. And the second one is to perform dynamic project management that fits the project and the partner needs, but also the project environment. Well, thank you very much for your attention today. We hope that you enjoyed the session. So we are now ready to answer your questions. So you can use the question box on the right part of your screen. So we check the questions. Okay. So, okay, we have one question. So, what are the main steps of dynamic project management?
Yeah, okay, that's a very good question, actually, since I didn't dive into the different steps. But usually at the launch of your project, the beginning of your project, it's useful if you can launch and set up all the methodology that you will apply within your project and the different tools. You can work on the project identity set of your project and things like that. So you do have a lot of things to set at the beginning. But then when running the project, you should focus on a live reviewing of the different tasks, the risks, your key performance indicators, for example, the Gantt, and see if there are any delays, and try to be agile when there is a change in your schedule coming in.
Okay, thank you much. Okay, so we have the second one. So what can I do to boost
back? Yeah, sometimes the team spirit within your project can drop. So how could you revive and bring it back, especially when you're facing a strong, a difficult moment?
Well, the first place, what I would say, because I experienced this, it's to ask the coordinator or the partner that will host the next meeting to organize very nice team building activities outside, if possible. The meeting room, hiking, for instance, something like that. But also, if the program is too important, maybe to go and talk to the coordinator of the project that will spread maybe key messages to the partners just to motivate them again. Well, and I think the last case, maybe what you can do is to organize an extra face-to-face meeting with the partner to make them work together and keep the flame alive and try to reboost everything.
Yes, okay. Thank you, Margot. Okay, so I think that I think that's it. Yeah. We can stop now. So you have our contact details on the last slide, so do not hesitate to contact us if you need, and you will receive the slides that we presented today in an email. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Bye bye.